More texts for you this morning, Tim, than ever before on the programme. You may even have beaten Sir Ken Robinson as our speaker of sense. People enjoyed what he said too about education. There are almost too many to mention, but quite a few people say, talk a bit more about what your solution to the creativity problems of this country would be.
Heavens. Isn't that the realm of the arrogance of mad people? There are loads of smart people in this country. Wherever I go, I'm privileged to meet people who are doing really clever things, but they need to be joined up, whether it be the people who are building frame houses out of compressed straw, who are building wave generators off northern Scotland and off Cornwall, whether there are people doing geothermic designs for engineering about deep hole boring and stuff like that. The skills are here. And if this was a serious question, I would skill up this country as if we were trying to harness, if you like, the spirit of war to a time of peace, because I think the stakes are so high. And the problem is, people 50 years from now looking back will be asking of us, were we a generation that history would write kindly about because we saw what was needed and acted, or are we going to be like those decadents at the end of the Roman Empire who just didn't spot what was coming and then the Goths came through? Anybody who travels in the world today, if you go to Russia, China, India, you see countries that are hungry, that want the future, and they're investing massively in it. And we actually have the folk memory of having been great at this. We've got a huge advantage, but if we leave it another 15 years, we'll have lost it, and it would be a tragedy if it was pen pushers that lost the engineering tradition that made this country great.
Can I quote something back at you, though? You said in a speech in 2007 about social enterprise that we may need to change our view on that, though, and possibly too many people believed in too much hippie stuff. And actually, and this is what you said, the truth is that the very organisations that might make your tummy turn because your politics suggest you shouldn't be supporting them are the only people capable of changing the world. But what does that mean, and how does that fit with equipping ourselves for a new world? I mean, does that mean that you do have to trust the banks and the BPs and the Shells and the ExxonMobil, the other people who are out there already in a massive way?
It's a difficult question, and at the risk of being over-simple, one mustn't confuse, as my generation did, the brand with the people that are inside it. If you work for any of those named companies, the people inside it, it'll be full of great people, many of whom, when they were 19, 20, wanted to change the world, but they're working in big organisations that are paying a lot of tax that allow us to have shows like this. But the problem I find with social enterprise and the way we've talked about it in the past has been that it has been talked about as if it's a system that is going to allow people who aren't really capable of proper work to have jobs. It's been kidnapped with a kind of social worker hush. And actually it has a virility and vigour to it if the politicians would let go of the darn thing. Because all I have been saying is that you talk to almost any chief executive in the FTSE 100 today and ask them whether the current public limited company is the ideal way to harness the strength of the people within their organisation, and they will say no, because they have to maximise profits for their shareholders, which doesn't mean that they can equip themselves for change, because while they're equipping themselves, they get fired because they're not maximising their profits.
Yes, an ever-decreasing circle. I wish we had more time, but we'll